Have you ever spent hours, maybe even days, getting a design to look absolutely perfect on your screen, only to have your heart sink when you see the printed version? Yeah, it's a super common frustration. But today, we're going to pull back the curtain on that whole process. We're going to bridge that gap between the digital world and the physical page so you can get amazing results every single time.
Oh, we have all been there. You get those colors glowing just right on your monitor, everything is vibrant and crisp. And then the prints come back from the shop and they just look, well, kind of flat, right? A little dull, maybe? That exact feeling of disappointment is what we're here to tackle. It's all about understanding the rules of the game when it comes to professional printing.
To really get a handle on why designing for a specific medium is so important, let's start with a really fascinating piece of software. It's called InPage, and it was created to solve a very specific and very beautiful design challenge.
Okay, so InPage is way more than just a typical word processor. It was built way back in 1994 with a really specific mission: to digitally recreate the gorgeous, flowing calligraphy you see in languages like Urdu and Persian. The goal was to stay totally faithful to that original handwritten art form.
And just look at this. This is what makes it so special. This is the Nastaliq script. Do you see how the letters seem to have this natural, almost hanging flow to them? InPage makes this happen by using a massive library of over 20,000 special character combinations, or ligatures, to make sure the digital text looks just as authentic as if it were written by hand. It's the perfect example of making sure what you see on screen is exactly what you get on the page.
So, how does a tool like this actually work? Let's take a quick peek inside the interface. And hey, if you've ever used any kind of design software before, a lot of this is going to feel pretty familiar.
Right up at the top, you've got the menu bar. This is your command center. No real surprises here, right? It's where you do all the basic file stuff, making a new document, opening an existing one, saving your progress, and of course, printing.
Now, right below that, you have the property bar. And this is where things get clever. See, this thing is dynamic. It adapts to what you're doing. If you click on some text, boom, it gives you options for fonts and sizes and colors. Click on a shape and you get a whole different set of tools. It's like a smart toolkit that always knows what you need. So InPage is this amazing tool designed for a very specific output. But let's zoom out now, because no matter what software you're using, Photoshop, Illustrator, whatever, we all face the same universal challenge. The goal is always to create one single perfect file that you can hand off to the printer.
And that perfect file has a name. It's called a print-ready file. I mean, the name pretty much says it all, right? It's a file that a print shop can take and use immediately. No phone calls asking you questions, no need for them to make any tweaks. It has everything baked right in to produce a beautiful, high-quality result.
So how do you get there? It really just boils down to a three-step checklist. First, you've got to save your work in the right file format. Second, and trust me, this one is huge, you have to set the correct color mode. And third, you need to make absolutely sure your images have a high enough resolution to look sharp. Let's break each of those down.
All right, let's talk about what is probably the single biggest culprit behind that disappointing moment we mentioned at the start. It all comes down to a fundamental difference, a great divide, really, between the colors your screen can create and the colors a printer can make with ink. So let's meet the two contenders. You've got RGB for screens and CMYK for print. And here's the thing, they work in completely opposite ways. Why? Well, it's simple. Screens create light while paper and ink absorb it. That right there is the essential difference you need to understand.
First up, let's talk RGB. Think about any screen, your phone, your laptop, your TV. It starts as black, right? And it uses teeny tiny red, green, and blue lights to build every single color you see. This is called an additive model. It's like you're in a dark theater, shining colored spotlights on a stage. When you add all three lights together at full blast, you get pure white light.
Printing, on the other hand, is the total opposite. It's a subtractive model. You start with a bright white piece of paper and you add layers of ink. Cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. That's CMYK. The ink actually absorbs or subtracts the light that's bouncing off the paper. So it's much more like mixing paint. The more colors you mix together, the darker the result gets.
So here's the absolute crucial takeaway. Those bright, vibrant, light-based RGB colors on your screen, they have to be converted into ink-based CMYK colors to be printed. And because of that fundamental difference we just talked about, some colors are going to shift. It's not a mistake, it's not a bug, it's just the physics of light versus ink. Your job as a designer is to know this is coming and manage that conversion. Okay, so we've got a handle on color, but there's one more absolutely critical element we need to get right for a pro-level print job. We need sharp, clear images, and that is all about resolution.
Resolution is really just a fancy word for the amount of detail in an image. On screens, we talk about PPI, which is pixels per inch, but for print, we use DPI, or dots per inch. Literally, the tiny dots of ink on the page. In either case, the rule is simple. A higher number means more detail, which gives you a sharper, crisper image. If your resolution is too low, your printed image will look blurry, or even blocky and pixelated.
So, is there a magic number to remember? Yes, there is. For professional quality printing, the industry gold standard is 300 dpi. If you make sure your image files are set to 300 dpi at the final size they're going to be printed, you can be pretty darn confident they'll look fantastic. All right, before you give the green light to print 1,000 brochures, there's one last crucial step: proofing. Now, a soft proof is just a final look on your screen, a digital simulation. But for jobs where the color has to be absolutely perfect, you'll want to ask for a hard proof. That's a physical test print. It's your final chance to catch any issues and make sure everything is exactly how you want it. So the next time you pick up a beautifully printed book or a slick magazine, you'll have a much deeper appreciation for all the invisible decisions that made it happen. And now that you know these rules, you can make sure that your own brilliant designs look just as incredible in the real world as they do on your screen. So the real question is, what other invisible designs are out there shaping the world all around you?